Now then, people, welcome back to the Just Joe Football Show, and it's time for the Midweek Fix. Try to think of something off the top of my head, but the Midweek Fix is exactly what it says on the tin. It's in the middle of the week, and it's to give you a Leeds United fix, and that's what we're going to try and do. Maybe it'll be a little bit therapeutic, hopefully, this session, because obviously we're off the back of arguably the worst performance of the season. One of the worst performances in Bielsa's tenure, you could even argue, and I will ask the guests that on that as well. And of course, things are not great within the fan base currently because of where we stand. And then we've arguably got our toughest free fixtures all in like a week. So like Sunday, Wednesday, Saturday, or whatever it is, something like that. So loads to go through. Big shout out for everyone that's watching. Please do smash a like on the stream. Get your comments in as well. We're going to go through them, get through as many as we can. And I'm going to welcome in my guests as well. So first of all, we'll welcome Lewis. He's been with us before. We haven't seen him for a while. He's actually now growing what I would consider an actual decent beard. So
no, I'm not. No, I'm not. No, don't try to be nice. Just because I'm 21 now, you think, oh, let's that bit of... No, I'm not, right? It's not any better than it was a year ago. So let's just
I'm telling you, it looks better, Lewis. How are you doing, brother? You all right?
I'm all right, mate. I've not been on with you for quite a while. I literally thinking the other day we've not done anything together. Any of us, well, I haven't with any of you in a while. No. So yeah, it's good to see you, man.
Yeah, same, mate, same. And you know what? I seen like some of your opinionated tweets after the Everton one. I was thinking, I need to get him on. We need to have a chat. So I'm glad you agreed to come on, mate. So thank you for that. And we are making a debut. First time we've managed to do a video. James Toon from JTLive, fresh on the scene. Thank you very much for joining us, brother.
No worries. It's an absolute pleasure. I mean, two legends of the Leeds YouTube community for sure. Two of the first, two of the pioneers of the scene. And it's a pleasure to sit down with both of you, really.
Everything you say is hype. Everything you say.
It's good though, isn't it? Like, you can't ask for better than that. Like, I've just gone, this guy can come back. This guy can come back. But yeah, James, tell us a little bit about your brother, about your journey, because James's YouTube channel is in the description along with Lewis's. I do want you to go and obviously subscribe to both, but it might be the first time you're hearing of James. So tell us a little bit about yourself, man.
Well, I started off on YouTube when I was like 10, 11 years old. I had loads of channels, gaming channels, Minecraft, whatever you want to call it. Stopped that, and now I decided to create some sports content. It's football, it's fighting, and of course, a hell of a lot of Leeds United content. If any of that interests you, if you're a Leeds fan, a football fan, a fighting fan, as I said, then there are live streams, content, everything going on down there. And, you know, if you do enjoy the content, then maybe stick around. If you think I'm a bit of a sod, if you think I'm annoying, then, hey, that's fair enough as well.
I love how there's always that point that you know you're running out of breath, but you don't care. Like every time I'm editing and I'm just like, he's really out of breath there, but he's just going to complete what he's saying. He's just done it then.
Oh, like, those streams kill my throat out. I cannot speak for hours after.
This is what you need, bro. You need these near close by strepsils. That's what if you take anything away from today,
you really are.
Get some strepsils. Get some strepsils. Yeah, plenty of love in the chat. Like I say, keep smashing a like on the video and make sure you check out both these guys' channels. Before we here we go. Look, Cloud Dizzle. This guy's goal reactions are mint. So yeah, great.
You guys are too much. That's class. You guys are too much today. Thank you.
The first time I seen him, I was like, "Who is this guy? It was class. It was class. But right, let's start first of all. I just want, because to be honest, we've not really spoken off air. You know, if you watch my videos, I try to remain positive at all times, but I want to get the guests' thoughts and opinions. No sort of like, oh well, you can't say that here, you can't do it. It's free reign. So, Lewis, where's your head at, mate, currently? Before we even look ahead, where are you at now after Everton?
Shocking, wasn't it? I think I got, I wouldn't say ahead of myself because I still hold my opinions, but in terms of certain things I tweeted, in the moment, which always happens, and it's the worst thing you can do on the worst platform you can do it on. I still agree with what I said, but not as maybe harshly as I worded it. I agree with, I said in not so many words that Bielsa's decisions within the last few months have cost us in one way or another, whether that's been substitutions, whether that's been deciding not to sign certain players in the window. And I know Van der Beek on £250,000 a week or something stupid like that. But his reasoning for not signing them wasn't that. It was fitness levels. And I tweeted something along the lines of, we don't need another Stuart Dallas. That's not what we need right now. It would be brilliant, but we just need players. We've had half a squad all season. We just need players. And then, to be fair, I disagree with this bit. In retrospect, I said something like, we don't need Premier League quality. We just need players. Well, we do need Premier League quality, but you get what I was trying to say, basically. We just needed to sign someone, and we didn't. And it was single-handedly the worst decision. Suicidal. And then, obviously, substitutions and stuff. Bringing Roberts on for Rafinha, whether Rafinha were injured or not. Geldhart exists. Do you know what I mean? And his stats prove that I saw something like he's got the best goal to game or something like that in the club, striker wise. I don't know. Okay. That might be wrong, but I saw right, mate. Like
that's the reason.
So yeah, I was heated in the moment, and I stand by most of what I said, but I think most of us were hot-headed. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And I just got that platform where if I say something, it's going to be thrown out there 10 times, tenfold. So yeah. But
mate, I've seen some people that were at the game, and sometimes, in my opinion, I think, or a lot of the people that make these outlandish claims about Bielsa and stuff, a lot of them tend to be behind avatars. Don't really, but after Everton, I've seen real people, like pictures of actually, some went as far as to say this guy's done, and it was really surprising for me. I did see it. Those that go to the games regularly, home and away, and I was like, wow, that's a big thing. That's a big
I won't say he's done. I'd never say that. I'd never be like, Bielsa out, like his time's finished, he's ruined his legacy, all that. I don't agree with any of that. It's stupid, it's heat of the moment, it's deluded, whatever you want to call it. But I do agree that he's stubborn.
Yeah.
And he won't change his ways. And anyone can see, no offense to the lad at all, but bringing Tyler Roberts on has never had an effect on any game, ever.
Yeah, but being stubborn isn't necessarily a bad thing. I mean, you look at Pep Guardiola when he first came into Manchester City. Yes, things weren't going well, and he was stubborn to his philosophy, and he was stubborn to the way he wanted to play, and things worked out for him. Same with Bielsa. The best managers are stubborn. And I went on Twitter. I mean, you're talking about Twitter. I went on after that game, and the stuff I was seeing, the vitriolic abuse people were giving towards it was sickening, man. It was sickening. I mean, the guy has never done anything wrong. He has never shown anything but compassion and greatness to all Leeds United fans, the club, everything. When we get fined, he pays 200 grand out of his own pocket. And yes, he's made a couple of mistakes. We're all human. Yes, I don't think he should have taken Rafinha off. I think he should have started Forshaw. I think he should have signed Van der Beek. Yes, he was stubborn in those instances. But most of the poor performances we've had this season, most of the goals we've conceded, have been because of individual errors. It's been because of someone not picking up their man, not tracking the midfield runners, and then they go through and score. And yes, you could say maybe he's giving them a bit of mental fatigue and they've lost concentration because he's asking them to do so much. But how are you going to be so fickle to the point that you just ignore everything the man has done, not take into account the fact that he's working with a bare bones squad, and then just send the man abuse? Now, for me, that's not on. For me, that's not on.
The abuse is not tolerated. The abuse is never tolerated with Bielsa, with players, with anyone. I don't agree with abuse, full stop. There's a difference between, and I think I've said it time and time again on here, Joe, whether it's been Midweek Fix or whatever else we've ever done on my channel, there's a difference between abuse and criticism. No one's above criticism. Not Bielsa, not Roberts, not anyone. You can criticise Bielsa's decisions, you can criticise players' performances, but there's a way to go about that You don't need to at players and go, get out of our club, never wear the shirt again, you shit, all that. Because if they see that, it's not going to help in any way. Now, constructive criticism can help, whether they see it and don't give a shit, or whether they see it and think, quite a lot of people saying this. Do you know what I mean? Either way. But abuse, just keep it to yourself. Say it in the pub over a pint with your mate. Don't take to social media. And I've learned that the hard way. I've been guilty of it in the past myself a couple of times, and everyone probably has. But it's just not. It doesn't help.
No. Right. Just before, because I've just remembered, I've written it. I'm making notes here, so I don't forget to ask you questions.
Professionalism.
Yes, man. Yes. The only unfortunate thing is it's red. Get
it out of here. Throw it out the window.
Do you know what? It's just one of my partner's works one. She said he used that. So I just want to say before I come to your questions, I totally forgot to do it, right? Lucy sends her apologies she can't make today. Obviously, Lucy is a regular on the Midweek Fix. I'm really sorry, Lucy, for not addressing that. Lucy's actually contracted COVID. She went home from work, did a test. She's got COVID. She is panicking because the game is on Sunday.
Yeah.
So she's like, pray for me. I need to get a negative test between now and then. So fingers crossed for Lucy. I'm sending that positive vibes to you.
Get a ticket in Scumend.
yeah, just get it going there. Go in there,
I probably shouldn't say that.
Yeah, or like shake all the players' hands as they walk in. Like, that'd be a good shout. Do you know what I want to pick up on, and just to get your opinion on it? Against Villa, Rafinha was a passenger, right? Absolutely, he was bad. It was bad. I'll say it. It was bad, and there was a lot of people I listened to, a lot of podcasts, Leeds United content creators, etc., saying, "Look, I was saying probably take him off," and I thought that myself, like against Villa. I don't think he was great against Everton either. Do you think it's just because it was Roberts that brought on for him, or do you go, do you know what? You have to keep Rafinha on regardless of how he's playing. Do you know what I mean? Because I feel that Bielsa's getting a lot of stick for that, and it's so easy with hindsight to say, why did you take Rafinha off? But maybe if Gelhardt was the sub and James moved out to the right, that's
what I'm about to say. I think it's more so the fact he's bringing Roberts on than taking Rafinha off. And do you know what? Like, I've literally just said there's no point giving players abuse, and I'm not going to give him abuse, but he's not good enough. And I don't get...
And you're allowed to say that, bro. You're allowed to say
that. I don't get Bielsa's loyalty to him. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
Helder Costa, nothing against him. But it was evident that when we went up, the two players that weren't good enough were him and Tyler Roberts. Costa's been offloaded. So why was Roberts offered a new contract? Why does Roberts get so much game time? Why does Gelhardt come on, prove himself, and then just not get any game time after that? I don't understand it.
But you don't know what's going on.
That's just my opinion. No.
You don't know what's going on with Gelhardt. Is he 100% fit right now?
Yeah, there is that argument, and then you go, well, who else is there other than Roberts? Because the rest of them are academy. Because obviously we've been struggling all season. So if that's the case, then fair enough. You don't know what's going on, but everyone's got that opinion based on what they see. No one can have opinion based on what they don't see or they're not told.
I tend to disagree with that, to be honest. I mean, you touched on the Villa game, and you could maybe say, you maybe take Rafinha off because Jack Harrison and Dan James were having some of their best performances all year against Villa. I think they were linking up beautifully on that left wing. In the Everton game, I don't think Jack Harrison was having an outstanding performance, personally. I think you could have taken him off. And I think, yes, I'm slightly biased because Rafinha is probably the only Leeds player that I've ever truly loved and thought, wow, this guy is actually...
Pablo Hernandez.
Pierre Michel Masoga, sorry, my bad. But he's a guy, and sometimes when you get one of those players, they can change a game on a knife edge. And those kind of players, you don't take them off, especially against Everton. He always performs against Everton. I was literally watching an 8-minute Rafinha montage with my mate downstairs. I kid you not. 5.5 minutes of it was literally him just skinning Allen and Decore back and forward. The guy performs against Everton. He's elite. He can change the game on a knife edge. I don't think Tyler Roberts, him coming on, is necessarily bad. I don't see a problem with Tyler Roberts playing. I think in that attacking midfield role behind the number 9, when he has someone pressing in front of him, opening up the space, and he has time to run at players, I think he's actually very good. I think technically Tyler Roberts is actually very good on the ball. I think there's only 2 players I've seen in the past few years that technically have better technical quality in Rafinha and maybe Pablo Hernandez. He's just not consistent. Let's be real. He's not consistent. You see some games, like you see him against Chelsea, where he's looking really good. He's looking sharp. He's looking energetic. He's making the right passes at the right time. And then you see him against Everton, and he's just misplacing passes, and he doesn't. He looks like he doesn't know what he's doing. And that's the problem with him. I don't necessarily see him having a problem with him coming on, but I think you don't take Rafinha off. Certainly not when you're losing.
Yeah, nah, there is that. It was a bit of a strange one. I just wanted to get your guys' opinion. Let's just round off on Roberts then. Like Tom Gatlin makes a good point. He says, "Look, Roberts isn't to blame. At the end of the day, the buck stops at Bielsa's door because he's constantly playing him, and obviously Bielsa sees something in him to want to constantly play him." Do you, Lewis, envisage him being able to carve out a career at Leeds? Because I feel it's so toxic now, right? That he's on a hiding to nothing. Do you know what I mean? It feels a little bit.
You say that, but look at the position Bamford were in at one point.
Yeah, true. That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Good point. And look, I've, for whatever reason, always loved Bamford and always backed him. It's probably one of the fewest players I've ever resisted just being like, "You're not good enough." And there were points I was like, you aren't. But I never came out and said it. I always backed him. I always wanted him to succeed. And when he did, it was such a thing I felt part of, which obviously I wasn't. But when you back someone to the point of success, and it's like, thank God you've come good. With Roberts, he's at that point now where I'm like, you're not good enough, and anything can happen. But that was with Bamford. It was first 2 seasons in Championship, and then obviously he's under Bielsa as well. Bielsa had just come in, so he's working on everyone at that point. Roberts is there as well. He's been working on everyone for this period of time. Bamford's come good. Bamford came good within 1-2 seasons. Roberts is still where he was. Yeah. So do you say, well, that's the end of the line then? Like you've run out of time, or do you say Bielsa can do it? If Bielsa sees something in him, there's clearly something still work to be done. Now, I don't think the time is right or the place is right for Roberts to develop his career, especially when you've got Bielsa juggling so many other problems and players. I think he would be better off if he wants to further his career and get more game time somewhere else. And that's nothing against him whatsoever. Now, we could be having this conversation in a year and he could be on 6 goals, 6 assists, because that's football. It works in mysterious ways. But as of right now, I just don't see a future for him here. But that's my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, well, another player that plays in a similar role to him, obviously in that attacking midfield role behind the striker, Rodrigo Moreno. What do you guys think about him? Do you think he's done? Do you think he can come back into it?
Did he ever?
Well, see, recently Rodrigo's been good.
Yeah. I mean, he could have changed the game single-handedly the other day. I think it's probably one of the best games I've ever seen him play for us, if not the best. But overall, you've got to say, again, in my opinion, that £30 million
not really worth
for the return is not.
Yeah, but that's harsh. Judging a player on their price tag is always going to be harsh. He was a record signing and he was on a high.
I'm not judging him. I'm judging us spending that amount of money on a player that's not giving us the return for what you'd consider in this market now. I mean, you look at Rafinha. We bought him for 10 million, 12 million less than that, and the return's been obviously age plays a massive part in that. There's 6 years difference in them. And Rodrigo was an international at that point. Spain is number 9.
Do you know what it is though on the Rodrigo thing? And I remember, I think it might have been Moscow White on the Square Ball made the point is that we as Leeds fans have obviously we've been out of the top flight for so long. You come into the top flight, we pay £30 million for a player, and it's like, wow, it's broke our record. But £30 million for a player now is nothing. if that makes sense, right? Like, you know, when people are breaking their records now, these top clubs, they're spending, you know, massive
It's
money.
nothing in the grand scheme of things, but it was a lot to us.
That's what I'm saying, though. So
Mm.
let's. What I'm trying to say, like how Moscow is saying, like hypothetically, like in 5 years' time, if we're still doing bits, £30 million on a player, it's probably not that big of a deal. I just think we come into the Premier League, you get Rodrigo and you pay 30 million, wow, record signing and everything. When in that, and I do agree with you, Lewis. I don't think it's worked. Don't get me wrong, but I do think, you know, maybe the figure's not that big really when you consider it. But let me come to you, James, because I just want to ask this because Mohammed's put a brilliant comment in, and I wanted to discuss Joe Gelhardt before we start looking ahead to next week. I had this conversation with Lucy actually after the game on Everton. We had a few little text messages, and I was saying that with Gelhardt, like, and I've said it in the past, like likened it a little bit to the Foden situation with Pep Guardiola, the way he managed him. And if you can remember how much, you know, City fans and English fans in general, especially those in the media as well, were saying, you need to play Foden, you need to play Foden. But like Mohamed makes a fantastic point, he knows when to bring these into the first team. See Meslier, see Stroud. So you've got to trust that Bielsa knows exactly when to bring him in. And when he does get regular minutes, he will be on fire. Do you agree with that, James, or do you think he should be getting started now just because of the situation we find ourselves in?
I think Gelhardt's a funny one. I think he's quality. I think he's top draw. Some of the things I see him do, I think this guy could go really, really to the top. But I think he's also slightly overrated. And not overrated in that he doesn't have the quality.
That's a big claim.
I know. I can see the tweets flooding in as we speak, but I don't mean, and it's not an indictment on him. I mean, people go a bit crazy. They're talking like he's the finished article already.
They're expecting too much right now, innit?
Yeah,
like I agree with you. They expect him to come on and score the goal. And it's like maybe we're putting too much pressure on this kid before he's even got regular game time. James.
Yeah, his positioning sometimes in games, it leaves a lot to be desired. I mean, what Bamford is so good at, yes, even when he was in the Championship and he was missing a lot of chances, his movement off the ball opened so much space up for everyone else. It allowed Klitsch to come forward and score so many goals. It allowed him to get on the end of so many opportunities. And sometimes Gelhardt, he lacks a little bit in that area. Sometimes his touch is a bit heavy. It lets him down, and he's a bit inexperienced. But that's to be expected. Like you say, he's a young kid. And then he goes ahead against Burnley and whips in one of the most beautiful crosses I've ever seen to Dan James. So he can do it. I think he's very good as an impact sub. And I think there is calls for him to start. I think you can't say that he should have started against Everton after Dan James's performance up front. You have to give him the benefit of the doubt and keep him in there. So you have to look at other people's performances. And yes, I think he should be put in here and then. And I think because we're playing 3 games in 6 days, I think he should definitely start possibly the midweek one against Liverpool, and then put Dan James back in against Spurs. Because I want to see Dan James against Man U, against his old club. I reckon he could cause some absolute havoc on the counter.
The thing is, though,
totally forgot about that. You know, it's great.
Again, back to that argument, what you've just said about Gelhardt, he can come on, change game. Maybe people do expect a bit too much of him to come on and do something every time. But 3 off the top of my head this season, comes on penalty against Wolves, comes on penalty against Palace, comes on scores against Chelsea. What's Roberts done? I'm not putting it on him, but it is between them two most games because of how thin the squad's been. Bielsa's got that decision, right? Do I bring Roberts on or do I bring Gelhardt on?
Who assisted Gelhardt's goal against Chelsea?
Huh?
Who got the assist for Gelhardt's goal against Chelsea?
Roberts. I'm on about coming off the bench.
No, I know what you're saying. I get what you're saying. He's been given a lot more opportunities than other players who potentially warrant it a bit more.
So I'm just saying, between them two, now obviously give us a full squad and you've got a lot more option and a lot more discussion. But we don't have that. Recently, it's been academy players plus Roberts and Gelhardt. So I don't see what warrants him coming on instead of, obviously 2 different positions, but you move players around. You've got James, you've got Harrison, you've got players, but you got Rodrigo you can bring off. You got players can play multiple positions that are already on the pitch. So I would prefer him to come on, but I do agree with your point about people, myself included, maybe might expect him to come on and always do something. Like easily Bielsa could be like, right, okay, I'll bring Geldof on Sunday, and it does nothing. So
this is what I'm saying. I feel we're getting to a stage, and listen, I'm with you guys as well. I want him to play. Don't get it twisted. Like I'm not, it's just like, although I do agree with a lot Bielsa says, because for me it is Bielsa, and it is just what it is, and that's how I feel about the man. And I do find it hard to question him at times just because of what he's done for my football club and where we're at, and that's just me. And I understand it that people get frustrated at that. But I do think not Bielsa, but Gelhardt should be coming on. And I do think he should be ahead of Roberts. That is, for me, that's where my head's at. But I do believe we're at a risk of building him up so much that if he comes on and doesn't do anything, then where's everyone? And it's a lot riding on him. Do you know what I mean? And I just think we're maybe...
But then the argument with that is like, just try it.
Yeah, just try it.
If you don't, then everyone's just going to keep the same opinion.
But they're also different positions, aren't they? Roberts and Gelhardt.
Gelhardt
can only play number 9.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. That's what I just said. So whether he would, whether he wants to keep James up front and then rotate everyone else, whether you're going to bring James off or you're going to bring Rodrigo off. You've got players on that pitch already who can swap. You could swap James and Harrison like that. You could swap Rodrigo. You could put him up front. All these things, but obviously Gelhardt, you'd have to make it so he's up top. But
do you know what? Like Perko makes a great point. Like Luis, you'll have been there as well. Like when he's warming up, when he gets called over to the bench, the noise goes up another level within Elland Road. So there is a little bit of that as well, because you can hear and see that visible lift. And I don't want us to get to it, although.
And I suppose on the flip side of that, Roberts must think.
This is what I'm saying.
Every time Roberts is there to come on, everyone's kind of like around me. There's some around me.
Same.
All you hear.
My mate, who I go with week in, week out, he never shout, like, give him grief. Not that. He's just not his biggest fan. So me and him will have them conversations when he'll turn around to me and go, "Oh, he's bringing on Roberts." Do you know what I mean? But if you think you've got 50% of that crowd all doing that at the same time, it is audible when people go, "Oh," do you know what I mean?
Bamford went through that though.
Yeah,
Bamford went through that. Several players have gone through that. It happens when you're not performing, and it's in games where there's already a lot of frustration there. Take Arsenal at home, for example. Just in terms of the atmosphere I'm talking about, that was already at a point where whoever comes on, no one's it's not gonna lift anyone. That was so. It's probably the most toxic atmosphere at home this season, Arsenal. And there were lads scrapping around me anyway. Like there were 2 fights.
I remember the Rangers and Celtic thing. I seen it on your Twitter.
Yeah. So it wasn't a good. It wasn't. If people are already at that point, 65th minute, you know what I mean, and people aren't seeing anything, it's hard to turn that around.
Yeah.
But I think that's not fair on Roberts personally. The fact
not on Roberts.
No, not then. Not then. I mean, generally, like you say, yes. Look, for me, if I'm seeing the two warming up when Gelhardt's on there because of what he's done when he's come on, my heart rate's elevated. What's going on here? Roberts, I'm sitting there 50-50. I'm thinking, are we going to get a top performance? Are we going to get a Tyler Roberts who's passing it to the sideline and he looks like a blind man playing darts? I don't know what Tyler Roberts we're going to get. And that's the problem with it. I don't think it's fair that people keep booing him, because I was seeing the same thing with Rodrigo, like I was saying earlier on. Rodrigo, who, I mean, you guys feel free, clearly disagree. I think he's been very, very good for 70% of the season. I think he's had a few off games. I think generally he's very underrated in that midfield role. And I think because of the status that Tyler Roberts has, no matter what good he does in the game, people are just waiting for him to make that one mistake and then they jump on him. Yeah. And yes, you could say that's his fault for that kind of thing. I don't think it's quite the same as Bamford you're talking about. I think Bamford was more people were like they were angry at him missing chances. I think with Tyler Roberts, it's more apathy. Like people don't care. Like they're a bit they're more angry that someone else isn't getting the opportunity, and that's the worst thing is apathy.
It's true. Do you know what? I'm just going to flag this up from Jeremy Wentworth, who says, if Geldat doesn't start soon, or at least start on the bench, Bielsa don't leave, Joffrey may well want a move. And the reason I do that, because I keep saying this, and I want to bring it up, it's quite frustrating. We've had drama leave. We've had Somerville wanting to make noise, and now there's all of a sudden this real worry within the fan base that these players want to leave or may want to leave. For me, Joffrey Gelhardt is 19. Like I look around the Premier League, there's not many getting the opportunities. This is what I'm saying. We live in like this bubble. Remember that Bielsa broke the record this season, and we are only 26 games in maybe this weekend. I don't know. Broke a record for most Premier League debuts ever in 8. Like so this lurking notion that he's not giving them opportunities and all that, it's BS in my opinion. And I don't see Gelhardt knocking on his door saying, I want to leave. He's 19. And okay, he may be getting started at Norwich. He maybe I just don't see, like, I don't go along with the notion that Gelhardt wants to push through a move and suddenly starting for a Premier League side. Maybe and again, you know, the Cody thing. Yeah, he's got to Cardiff. Yeah, he's doing well, but he's getting trained by Steve Morrison. Like, what? I don't understand it. You're getting trained by one of the best coaches in world football. So I don't go along with that notion. I suppose it all depends on the mentality of the individual and of the player. Look, Somerville for me.
Well, I think we know about Drama's mentality.
There you go. And Somerville for me, whenever I've seen him. Queen. Yeah, yeah. Somerville for me doesn't pull up any trees, and I don't think he'll be a Premier League footballer.
Whoa! No,
I don't.
Somerville's probably one of our best youngsters, man.
No, I don't agree, bro. I don't see that translating to a Premier League footballer. He may go to Europe. And play a decent level in Europe, but I don't see Somerville translating as a Premier League footballer.
What's odd?
Just like Paveda, he's the same in the same bracket.
The amount of, and I think Bielsa said this himself, to be fair, concerning Drama, the amount of youngsters we've got, there is no better club and no better time for them to get game time because of the problems in the squad. And if the rumours are true about Somerville, obviously Drama's already gone, and youngsters wanting to leave, that doesn't make any sense to me, because there'd be no better time for them to get that playing time and prove themselves here.
Yeah.
If we had the full squad, fair enough, I could understand it, because where's the way in? But they have had a way in all season.
Somerville hasn't. Somerville hasn't though, because the one position, ironically, that we're actually stacked in is the wing position. With Dan James can't even get a start on the wing because Harrison and Rafinha are there. So Somerville's the one youngster actually who hasn't been. Drama, like you were saying, it was perfect for him to slot in there, especially with Luke Ayling having a few poor performances.
Yeah.
But Somerville, how's he going to get in ahead of Rafinha?
Look, you know, and you clearly disagree, and I'm not going to sit here and say I watch all the 23s. I don't. I can only go on what I've seen when I've seen him play, and that's a very small snapshot. And I know he rips it up, and I've seen these, stuff that's on Twitter and that, and these clips. But like there, Hannah, she went to the game last Monday against Liverpool. He was class. But like's been said, it's a massive step up, and I just don't think it will translate to him being a Premier League footballer for Leeds United. But that's just my opinion. It is what it is. Maybe, you know what it is? I have that blinkered because it's like, oh, you want to dare question Bielsa and Leeds United? You want to leave, do you? Right, you're dead to me, bro. Do you know what I mean? Maybe it's that. I don't know. But listen, that's where we're at currently. Let's talk about what's to come. I was hopeful of us maybe suddenly going, oh, we've got some easy fixtures, let's get some points on the board. But we haven't. In 6 days, we have Manchester United, Liverpool, and Spurs, right? So, just James, where's your head at with them?
Well, where's my head at is, let's be real here, we've been absolutely shagged. How are they going to, of all the time, we have all this time that Liverpool could have been slotted into. We have the FA Cup where Leeds aren't playing. And ironically, Liverpool's best players are out at AFCON. But no, they decide of all times, let's slot it in between two of Leeds' hardest fixtures in the season. Man U and Liverpool. I mean, Man U and Spurs, especially after not picking up points against Villa or Everton. 1 point out of 6. Not good enough going into this run. And I was actually quite confident after the Burnley game. I was thinking, you know what? We showed there's a difference in quality. Yeah, there's levels to this game. Burnley ain't got nothing on us. But then all of a sudden we start slipping up again in typical Leeds fashion. And now we have these games. Now, and without signing a midfielder as well, going into these games, I'm petrified, to be honest. I think Man U will do them over. I've been waiting for this game my entire life. Leeds versus Man U at a packed out Elland Road. It's the one game I've wanted to go to my entire life. And I'm actually going to be there, which is amazing. And I don't know. It's kind of like a derby game. It's not a derby game, but it is a derby game. So form goes out the window. So that one I think is independent. Liverpool, I'm very scared of. And Tottenham, I think because of the way we were very unlucky last time, I think maybe we'll be fired up and we could get something out of those. But what about you guys? What do you think's out of 9 points? How many do you think we're going to get?
We'll come to that because I did a bit of a poll on the video when I set it up this morning as well. So we've had quite a few votes in that. But Lewis, just without looking at any game in isolation, where's your head at with these next 3?
Oh, we're winning on Sunday.
Are we?
Yeah.
Are we? I know that, mate. Please.
No, we are. Do you know what? We're winning on Sunday. I don't even need to explain why. I don't explain my reasoning. We're winning on Sunday. End of 3.
If you know, you know.
Liverpool and Spurs, I reckon we could get a draw, maybe beat Spurs. I think Liverpool will probably do as well. But we're winning on Sunday.
I thought I was the confident one. I'm shitting.
Ronaldo skying a penalty.
Oh God.
I reckon Bamford's going to come out on crutches and just. But honestly, jokes aside, I do actually think we'll do them over. I don't know why. I just have a feeling like James says, packed out Elland Road, atmosphere is going to be so intimidating. Everyone's going to want it. Players, fans alike.
There's some of these players in that Man United team will not have experienced anything like it. And I keep saying to all my people that aren't like Leeds fans or like that, I said, you don't understand this fixture. I said, make sure you watch that game on Sunday on Sky because it'll be palpable through the screen. Like
11 years, mate. 11 years since we've been.
Yeah, it's going to be insane.
Here with fans. So,
it's going to be insane.
Yeah, man. Like jokes aside, I do actually think a draw at the very least, but I have a feeling we're going to do them in. I like a 1-0. And I think it'd be. I don't even think it'll be scrappy. I think it'll be like backs to the wall, like proper Derman. But it could go the other way. But I have that sneaky suspicion that it'd be such a Leeds thing to get turned over by Frank Lampard's Everton, and then just.
Well, do you agree with this? What Russell's saying? It's probably better, Lewis, that we're underdogs in these because we play better when not favourite. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Like the Everton game where. You got to be winning this.
We all thought we were going to win. I don't. Yeah. We did.
But these fixtures are just right. Well, if you tell me right now that we're going to come out of them with no points, I won't be shocked. Do you know what I mean? But we get anything from them, and it'll put a smile on my face, mate. Like we just need points wherever from. Like we'll get 3 on Sunday, and then hopefully get at least 1.
Yeah, but Man U are coming into this on poor form, though. That's the only thing that's scaring me. Like you're saying with
they got their win yesterday, though. They got their win yesterday, and Ronaldo scored, and I'm glad about that because I was thinking, Jim, they haven't won. Ronaldo's
not going to score in 7 games and then do it.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. But thankfully, he got it out of the way last night.
The thing is, all I will say right now, if he scores, like we're going to win. So he could put him 1-0 up and we'll win 3-1. But if he scores at the South Stand and does his silly little suiting corner flag, he's going to die. He's going to die. He's not leaving that corner flag because I don't think in his life he will have ever experienced such a moment of hatred.
Yep.
On so many levels, on a we hate Man United level, on hate him, hate his whole rape case, everything. If he I hope someone advises him if he scores just to run to the halfway line and just.
Max, he'll do it.
You know what I mean?
If someone advised him that, he'd do it more. I think. But I was there when Sergio Canos did it this season, and believe me, it was not nice
Sergio
then.
Canos.
So if it's him, it's a totally different.
And that was at the top.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So,
yeah.
Yeah.
Probably
not. Especially after Tyler Roberts smashes a couple in, then it's really going to be bags against the wall.
I will. Yeah, that would be your moment, mate. If that happens, but yeah. Do you know what? Right, to be honest, I'm not confident over this next three, and we could even see a case where we don't win any of them. Right, it's a genuine thing, right, and that's hard for me because I want to go. Look, on the morning on Sunday, we'll be winning that game. We'll be winning that game when I get them pre-game jitters. Otherwise, for me, there's no point in going. That's how I am. Like if I'm going to the game thinking we're getting our ass tanked, then I'm not about that. You know, it's just how I am. But now, you know, I'm looking at it and thinking, there's a big chance we could lose all three. But you know, and someone made this bold claim. They said to me, I offered them to take a bet. They never came back to me. But I said, they said we're going to be in the bottom three by the end of Feb due to these games. So let's talk about the elephant in the room. James, do you think we are in a relegation battle? Will we get relegated? How do you know? For me, I think we'll struggle to get any points. I do. It's going to be tough. But even if we do, I'm still we're not getting relegated because there's three worse teams than us. That's just my opinion. And, you know, Southampton lost 11 games on the bounce last season and didn't get relegated and actually finished just under mid-table. Let me put that out there. And a lot of people go to me, oh, well, what are your aspirations as a Leeds fan? You think that's acceptable? No, I'm not saying that. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, at this moment in time where we are in the league, I'm just happy there's three worse teams than us because I think we'll be all right.
Well, context is everything. And I think, yes, it's not where we want to be as Leeds fans, but in the context of the season and the injuries and the lack of signings, then, yeah, you know what? Survival is all right. And then you have to take into account the fact we're going to build a new stadium. So as long as we can keep in the league and we can manage to get that 60,000-seat stadium, then it's better. And it's funny you touch on Southampton there. Looking below us, I'm not feeling confident at all. Not with the way Newcastle have been playing, not with Everton now in their resurgence. But the only thing that's given me a little bit of confidence is looking at the teams above us, looking at Brentford, looking at Southampton. Those two, I'm thinking, over the course of the remaining games of the season, I think we can get more points than them. We've got games in hand over Brentford still. I don't see them finishing above us the way that they've been playing and the way that we can play. I think we'll have a strong end to the season if we manage to get Phillips back. Because let's be real here. Yeah, there's a lot of talk about Bamford being out, but Phillips is the main man. I mean, for people criticizing Bielsa at the beginning of the year without Phillips, when we had Phillips and Forshaw playing together in that midfield, then we played Bielsa football. Then we were taking it to teams. We were taking it to Tottenham. I mean, like I said, very unlucky to not win that game. And when we don't have them, that's when we don't play Bielsa football, and that's when we've been slipping up. So I think with Phillips and potentially Forshaw back in there with a full-strength squad, we can have a strong end to the season. I think we will pick up at least one win out of this week. And I think the teams above us, mainly Brentford and Southampton, I don't think they'll cause us any problems.
Southampton, just a caveat like that, Southampton have been very, very good of late, and there are, you know, they are decent. I think you could argue maybe more so Palace than Brentford. But look, and I know you mentioned Newcastle. Someone mentioned it. I think it was Hannah. Big shout out for the comment. Thank you. You know, Newcastle now, they're not getting relegated. You know, 3 wins on the bounce. It is what it is. They're going to move up the table. You would imagine Everton will move up the table. I just see, and I think Brownie said this on Twitter as well. I think the bottom 3 that's there now is locked in. I do. I think it's locked in. Norwich down, Watford. I've said Norwich and Watford for a long time, Lewis. A very long time. People who watch me will know this.
I said Newcastle would stay up for a long time when we got Howland. So.
It's just that other spot. And I now look at Burnley, and I know they've got a game in hand, and there is this Sean Dyche factor, but they're just not scoring goals. They're not scoring goals. And to be honest, I don't think they've been great defensively. They might have changed it around late, but we've played them this season. And for me, Tarkowski and me didn't look like Premier League centre-backs. I was like, what's happened to them two? They're normally very good. So I think that's your bottom 3, and that's why I think we'll be all right. You know.
What about Norwich though? Norwich.
See, I'm not.
The new manager.
Yeah, but they're still not at the relegation zone. There's still a 6-point gap. Someone made that point about us being in the relegation zone. So I went, right, okay, that means Norwich have to find 6 points in the next 3 games. They had City, they got spanked 4-0. They've got Liverpool on the weekend, I believe. They're not picking up the points. That's just my opinion. If I'm wrong,
the thing is,
I'm wrong, you know?
I've been just had a quick look.
Yeah.
The teams below us and around us, we talk about our next 3 fixtures. Theirs aren't great. I mean, Everton, for one, they've got City and Spurs in their next 3. And then you've got fixtures like Norwich against Brentford, which great for us because either you've got a team coming down or you've got it closing in. And at that point, you're like, well, it's anyone's. And when you've got it's very easy to focus on teams below you. But like James says, when you've got Brentford and Southampton there, it's like, well, they haven't got easy fixtures. They're not in great form. More points they lose and more they start to trickle down. We either stay where we are or just overlap one of them. And then everyone's talking about them being, roped into it. Then looking at that bottom 3, I'd probably agree with you in terms of it being locked because I said Newcastle stay up. You don't see Everton dropping, especially not now with they've recruited and they've obviously got Lampard, which I'm not saying Lampard's a saving grace, but Brentford are not in free fall, but they aren't 1 in 5, and then Palace will be sound. Yeah, I think you'd probably have to say those bottom 3, unless something goes horribly wrong at Newcastle. I mean, they have just lost Trippier for probably the rest of the season. So
that's a big one, isn't it? Because he was probably the main driving force in getting them up there.
Yeah, I mean, and if Norwich get a sniff of Newcastle or any, Norwich or Watford, best believe they will pack because Norwich can pick up points where you least expect them to. They've got that in them.
Norwich are gash, man. I'm telling you all now. Lock it in.
They are shit.
They're just fluky though. It's like when they got promoted ahead of us in the first year in the championship. Just everything was just bouncing their way when they went on the counter attack. I don't know how the hell it happened for them. Although they do, I just didn't realize we do have a game in hand over them, which is big.
At least if they go down, we know who's winning championship next season, so you can get your bets on that.
We're not going down.
Get your bets
we're going down, Lewis?
No, I said if they go down, we know who's
winning
championship next season. Norwich go down. You can get your bets in on that.
Yeah, man, definitely. Right. So for us to get right, let me go to my poll actually, right? So just on my poll, I asked the points returned from the next 3. So I put 0 to 3, 3 to 6, and 6 to 9. 4% said we'll get 6 to 9, which is bold. Let me take the votes actually. 204 votes, so not like crazy amounts, but still. But 70% went to 0 to 3, and I believe had I have siphoned that off into 0, 1, 2, or 3, that 70% would have probably been in the 0 bracket. But 70% say between 0 to 3. But boys, for us to get a positive result or results over these next 3 games, what needs to happen for you, Lewis? Don't
be stupid on Sunday again. Please, Bielsa, if you're watching. No, but fucking hell. Look at last season at home against them. I'll bite your hand off for a 0-0 on Sunday. I don't obviously you want to beat them, and I have a sneaky suspicion we will. But the way we set up against them at home last season was perfectly annoying on their part. They just couldn't.
Who was man of the match? Who was man of the match? Yeah, exactly. That's the big one, isn't it?
It's obviously a massive loss, but for sure, I would say has got it in him to calm that midfield down and just be a bit of a annoyance on their part. And it was they came and tried to play the exact same they played against us at Old Trafford when obviously they battered us 6-2, and we weren't having none of it. And then that's why it annoyed me so much to see us go there first game of the season and do the exact same thing we'd done there last season. But funnily enough, the only time we switched up was second half. We were lucky to only be 1-0 down. Come out second half, and we just went all guns blazing, equalised straight away. Because everyone were Luke Aylin's edge of box. You know what I mean? Everyone just charged for. And then you look at Greenwood, You know, getting past strike on the counter because everyone's on the bloody halfway line, and from then on it was just 2, 3, 4, 5. It's Jesus Christ! It's
Do you know what it is, though? Do you know what the big factor in that, Lewis, is Ollie? And the mad thing is, this might sound daft, but I believe we have a better chance going up against Ralph Rangnick than we did Ollie. Because like my man Oscar says, Ollie was just about vibes. And he would say, go out there, you know, man-marking system and beat them. And let's be honest, man for man, that Man United side were just so much better than us. Like, you know, you had Bruno Fernandes against Robin Koch. Like,
we didn't double up on him as well, which we did at home last season, and it worked perfectly. Like, you've got to double up on players like Rashford.
And I feel that Ragnick's going to come with a specific tactical vibe that maybe Bielsa. I just feel we have a better chance. It sounds daft, but we have a better chance against a better technically savvy manager than we did against Ollie, who just went, go and do what you want, lads, kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Well, is there a better tactical manager than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, though?
I think maybe you know, again, it all sounds mad, but obviously if it's more tactical, then you would say Bielsa would be able to prepare against it better rather than just.
But what's your main? Would it be Forshaw starting? Is that your thing? Is that your main point? Forshaw and get the tactics.
Yeah. I think we just need a very calm and annoying on their part midfield where they don't have gaps, they don't have any chance to break because they love a counter. They love to just, if they get in that box, they love to just tiptoe around and try to get someone to clip, and it happens. That's why, you know, the whole Man United get so many penalties meme. It is because they are very, very good at just making you lunge or stick a foot out because they're so intricate in the box, and they get into the box so much is because they're a great counter-attacking team, and we allowed them to do that so much. First game of the season, so many gaps. Obviously, you know, not so much first half, but when we let ourselves go second half because we were desperate, they just, you know, they jumped on that. And like you say, hopefully they do set up differently and it is a different game. But I think on our part, we just need to be very calm and collected and not let ourselves go, not let ourselves get mad. And, you know, even the atmosphere will be like, it'll want us to do that. People will be like, we can get at them, but we can't.
Oh, yeah, too right.
We can't do that.
One of them.
We just need to, it needs to be a smart, it needs to be smart, not all guns blazing. Hopefully, you know.
Before I come to you, James, let me just read out Luke's super chat. Thank you very much, Luke, always supporting the channel. That post from the Orthotic company, if that's how you say it, with Bamford tells me he's coming back this season.
Bastard, I paid £5 for him.
Can't pronounce it. Orthotic.
Just charging a refund right now.
Orthotic. Something to do with your feet, I assume, because I know that's what's going on with Paddy. But yeah, thank you for your super chat, Luke. You're a legend. You're always supporting the channel. Connor James, talk to me. What needs to go well for you? Is it, you know, do we go? I agree with Luis. I think Forshaw should start. Would it be Gelhardt starting up top for you instead of James? What would it be?
Well, no, like I said before, Dan James has got to start up front, you know, against his old club on the counter-attack, especially if you said you don't want us to go in all guns blazing podcast style. We need to sit back a little bit and catch them on the counter. No better player to do that than Dan James. I mean, his link-up play with Harrison on the left was nothing short of sublime against Villa. But what we have to do is stop giving away so many goddamn set pieces. I mean, I'm telling you, someone, especially with Ronaldo in there, he is going to be feasting on those. And someone needs to double up on Llorente. Because Llorente, yes, he's quality on the ball, but the amount of times he drags him, he gets dragged out of position, and then he lunges back and gives away a needless foul. Especially with someone with the intelligence Ronaldo has, he'll be rinsing him left, right, and centre.
Yeah, and you know, that is a good point about, especially in the air. Like, he is unbelievable in the air, and we are so bad. And you've just brought images of him doing that hang time thing for about 5 minutes while Ayling and that are trying to like catch him. Yeah,
but how are we bad in the air though? I'm sorry, but we had Hjeld, we had Struijk, we had Koch, and we had Llorente. 4 tall players that can play or are centre halves against Everton, but yet Michael Keane's chilling at the back post unmarked.
We're so bad. We're so bad from set pieces, bro. I think it's unbelievable. Like, for me, there was a period of
Even
time especially
taking
last season. You would rather go for a corner than a penalty. You had more chance of scoring it.
When
You
we
know
have a
what I mean,
corner,
against
mate,
Leeds.
all I'm saying, I'm not thinking, I hope we can score from this. Like, I'm thinking, please beat the first man. Please beat the first man. Not that. Every time we get a corner, I'm like, this is going to go to the feet, first man, near post, and they're going to counter. Or short corner, cross.
Well, we've actually scored from a couple of short corners recently, haven't we? We had the one against Villa, and we had the short corner against Burnley.
Yeah,
I know what you mean though, because even against Villa, I was going on the watch long. I was like, well, let's see if we can beat the first man this time, then. And then it actually came in and we scored, and I was like, all right, fair enough. So sometimes it works, but it's very, 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 very rare. We definitely need. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. Like, Stuart Dallas is not. I know we scored from him, but he's not a set piece taker, man. Nah, that's what I'm saying about us with Bielsa. He makes diamonds out of stone. Like, sometimes when Dallas passes a ball, it's so telegraphed. But it is what it is. I love him. I do love him, but you look around the rest of the league, and the players that are taking set pieces have that extra little bit of sauce that maybe.
That's why you need to put Roberts on them. That's what I've been saying.
He'll be out on Sunday though.
James, I've got a feeling Roberts is your favourite player. Which
I can't lie. I'm just doing it to annoy you a little bit.
Nah, but speaking on Dallas, it might be his first game out. That's not not due to being pissed up. So that it will be interesting to see how we.
So who do we play there?
Another one.
Junior Firpo hopefully will be fit, I think. Junior Firpo left.
Oh yeah, but then that's an whole different conversation.
What do you think about him? Because I think he started off the season very, very shakily when he was getting skinned by Iwobi. I think the past few games, even before the Burnley game, I thought he was getting into some serious form. I thought he was actually quite underrated until obviously the Burnley performance.
The thing I picked up at Brighton away was he's got it in him if the game's going a certain way to completely lose his head.
And that's what I was talking with my dad about. And when he had the concussion thing, and then the next day he came off with like the hamstring thing. Yeah. He was saying to me, he's like, I look at him and he's not one of those players that's up for the fight. When the going gets tough, the tough get going. And he's saying, unfortunately, he's not one of the tough. And
like
there is
going to be in him. And obviously Janssen gave the whole, big I am and like gave the fans what they wanted basically in a leader and an hard man and all that, and we reciprocated it and probably boosted his ego in return. And I still like Janssen, don't get me wrong, but he's another one who had it in him to just, if it wasn't going his way, not the team's way, his way, he'd lose his head, and it's like he'd throw his toys out at Pram. There were times I'm going off on a tangent, but there were times where Janssen were on the floor, not injured, and it's almost like he's like, just get me off. Like, I can't.
Get me out of here. Yeah, I'm a celebrity. Get me out of here. I agree with you completely, bro. I do. He used to do it all the time. Byron Israel Smith says, "You watch the movie Titanic. You're going to keep singing Marcelo Bielsa while the ship sinks, bro. Bielsa is playing with Dyer. Going to go gun ho against Man United. Ronaldo hat-trick, bro. Listen, I've said it and I'll say it again. I will be Rose saying, "Don't let go, Jack. Don't let go." Because that's how much this man means to me. I don't care, right? Oh, yeah. I genuinely don't care. I'll die on that sword. I'll die on that hill. It will be a sad, sad day when he goes. The guy is an absolute godsend. Believe me, we would not even be in this division. And I get everyone says, oh, just because he did that doesn't mean... I can be critical. I get all that, but I just don't go along with the notion of people who are saying, maybe took us... I remember one of my favourite ones was... I don't think he's got it, at this level. And you think, he managed Argentina at a World Cup. Like, what are you talking about? I've seen some crazy things.
And the worst thing is, right, that there were enough space on that door for Jack, and I won't be told otherwise. It was an absolute disgrace.
Exactly.
She should be done for murder.
That's a great shot.
Great analogy. How dare you? Get out.
Yeah, that is a great shot.
Yeah, no, but finally someone that agrees with me on Bielsa, because like I said, even when I've been talking to people, everyone just seems to be so negative about him. I mean, aside from my father, and my grandfather and my cousin, I don't think I've ever loved a man as much as I love this. I have a Bielsa playlist on my phone that I play every week. Yeah, I'm sure you know the guy who makes some of them, Mickey P and the fact. Actually, you uploaded them, Lewis. Yeah, that's how I found them.
I'm just busy laughing at that comment, mate.
What, Leonardo DiCaprio? It's brilliant, isn't it? I love that.
But yeah, the songs, it were a good period. It was a good period.
No, but even like I love the guy. I could never. That's why, like you say, I find it hard to criticize him sometimes.
Yeah, yes.
You have to criticize him, and with hindsight's a wonderful gift as well. Like especially after the Everton game. But I love that man too much. I'm actually going to cry the day he goes.
Snap. I think that might be a thing as well. We might have to hold a little vigil over YouTube. But Byron, correct me if I'm wrong, but Dom Revy, Howard Wilkinson, whoever you like, they're all in the past, bro. Do you know what I mean? That's what you do, right? Like, I don't understand that. I'm praising.
But what about the present? What about the present? He had a fan. What about last year? We finished 2 points off Europe with a barely funded squad. Come on. And now he's got no players, and people are making individual mistakes.
We will stay up this season, and it's not been the greatest season, but we will look back on it as simple as this. We had half a squad all season. We stayed up. We had a few memorable results. Forget it, move on. We've got to invest. We've got to hope that players overcome injuries in terms of...
I think he's gone,
bro. Not being... That is, that's a whole different conversation. But on the, let's just say, for argument's sake, he stays. He's kept us up, and obviously, if he keeps us up with all the shit we've had this season, then and what he's done for us, probably an easy time to leave. In a sense that I can't leave on a bad note, and I'm not leaving on a. We're not won a cup not apart from championship. Do you know what I mean? He's just leaving at a when no one can really say anything. Do you know what I mean? It's just a nice time, perfect. But say, argument's sake, he stays. We've stayed up, having half a squad all season. Now the time is because Bielsa's. There's been 2 seasons now where we've been like he could walk. People were saying he'll get us up to Premier League and walk, and he didn't. Say he stays, he thinks, right, I've still got stuff to prove here. I want to win a cup, a proper cup, or get into Europe. He thinks these players are now injury prone and they're not good enough. Like, there's certain players, there's going to be players like that. The players who overcome it, Bamford, Phillips, what have you. Basically, we analyse what squad we've got, who's good enough, where we need to improve, spend, and challenge. And if next season, then, having put us all into it, because we haven't this season and we didn't last season in terms of investment and stuff. If then we still don't succeed, we could still stay up. But in terms of achieving Europe or winning a cup, then perfect time for him to walk.
But he would do well. He would do well because you look at every manager, even Klopp, even Guardiola, when it gets to that 4th, 5th season, the squad, like the players, they've been hearing the same message from the same coach. You have to rejuvenate the squad a bit. You have to switch it up. So every team has that lull in that 4th or 5th season. And then what happened? Guardiola the next year they came back and won the league by about 14 points or so.
Also, that's great. I'll also think about Bielsa as well. He has got that in him. He loves to overcome. First season we fell short. Second season he's like, right. Fuck this. Do you know what I mean?
But I think he felt like he could improve, and I think he stayed this season because he believed he could improve on that 9th position, and it hasn't happened. And I think Bielsa will look at it and maybe say, do you know what? I've probably taken them as far as I hope it doesn't happen. But all these people that say, oh well, if he does stay, he's going to have to do this and he's going to have to change. Guess what? He's not going to.
Last season wasn't a bad season.
No, this is what I'm saying.
He doesn't need to change.
I agree with you, bro. I agree with you. But this is what I'm saying. It's all this. Well, if he does stay, then he'll have to. He's not done it up to this point now. He ain't going to do it now, and that's where I am with him. You see, I sort of have to accept it because it's like
but him as a person as well, regardless of the football side of things and where we're finished and whatever. He loves Leeds, the city. He loves where he lives. He loves his family position. He loves everyone, like the staff at the club, everyone around him. He said this is the best position he's been in his life in terms of living, in terms of happiness, everything. And I just think there's going to be that in him that thinks, do I want to leave having just finished 16th, 15th?
Yeah,
or do I want to give it another go with a full squad, with recruitment, and think we can still do something here? I've still got stuff to prove. And then if it still turns out, unfortunately, it doesn't work out, then fair enough. But I just think like last season was a dud season in terms of finished 9th. We didn't achieve anything in terms of actually qualifying for anything or winning silverware, but obviously finished 9th season. But it won't be remembered for anything other than that. I still think he would want another accolade.
I don't think it's based on. Oh, sorry.
No, I hope that's what happens. But on the flip side, I can see him walking.
I don't think it's based on the pitch performances, like you say. I think you got to look at the new owners coming in, the San Francisco 49ers. I think that's got a massive part in whether he stays or not.
Is that happening next season?
That's the thing. When is it going to happen? So is he going to either stay until they fully take over and then walk then because he's going to have less power to do?
You mean leave with Andrea, basically?
Yeah,
like end of era type thing.
Or does he leave before Andrea so Andrea and co can get the next manager in to play under them? Like, what way does it go? I think that's the question.
Well, boys, let's save that, okay? Because you are going to be back, hopefully. Fingers crossed. The reason I want to my tea, and I've been getting a lot of telling off if I run over. I'm already 6 minutes over.
You use my notebook. And you're 20 minutes late.
But listen, I want to thank you both massively for coming on. It's been a great show. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you. And Lucy sent me a few texts in the meantime as well saying, great show. So hopefully get well soon. Hat trick now, I think, for Lucy. 3 COVID shouts now. I've still not had it once.
Lucy.
I've still not had it once, bro, and she's had it 3 times.
Once, to be fair.
Yeah, it's a mad. I've not had it. And long may that continue. I don't want it. But hopefully it's gone before Sunday. And hopefully we'll all be buzzing on Sunday. There'll be no midweek fix next Wednesday because of course we play Liverpool. But the following week, hopefully we'll have these lads back with us as well. And in the meantime, make sure you check out both their channels. The links are in the description along with Lucy's Twitter. Check them out. Okay. In the meantime, please do that. I'll be back tomorrow night with the Premier League preview. We do have on Adam from the United Stand giving us the look ahead to Manchester United, along with Corey, Oscar, Matt, Tottenham. Yeah, just looking at all the Premier League games. So make sure you join us for that. And I'll obviously be back on Friday as well with Thank Football. It's Friday with Gaz. It's still a bit of a mouthpiece, that. But thank you as always for watching. And we'll see you all soon. Peace out. Enjoy your